I'm the type of person that likes to schedule and likes to know what I'm doing, and this just like threw a wrench in all that. There's nothing I can do. It's out of my control. You know, no one tells Mike Tyson what to do. And if he wants to fight me, of course I'm gonna say yes. This is the opportunity of a lifetime to fight one of the two most famous boxers to ever live. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson. I look at Mike Tyson as a killer, so I never really expected something like this.
Life is not normal anymore. I'm fighting one of the most famous boxers ever, and when I knock him the fuck out, I will be the new face of boxing.
A guy like Jake, you hate him or you love him in this kind of game. There's nothing in between. I just want to win. But I want to do more than that. I want to set a precedent. Fuck him up.
Jake Paul held nothing back while reading criticism regarding his upcoming controversial fight against the legendary heavyweight boxer Mike Tyson.
I hope Mike bites both of Jake Paul's ears off. And quite frankly, me too, because I don't want to hear any of you dumb anymore.
With the fight date so close, the hype has been ramping up. Over 100,000 people are expected to attend, with millions more tuning in on Netflix. Recently, Netflix's official account shared a video of Jake Paul, who has had a remarkable journey in boxing, boasting a 10-1 record, responding to comments mocking him ahead of his fight with Tyson.
Me and my buddies aren't even betting on which round he gets knocked out in. We're betting on how many seconds into the first round he gets knocked out. Laughing emoji. That is real up, dude. You don't think I can last at least one round?
Jake Paul, at 27, has the advantage in youth and athleticism. You can't dismiss Tyson's incredible record of 50 wins out of 58 fights, with 44 knockouts. Tyson still holds his legacy as the youngest heavyweight champion in history, unifying the WBC, WBA, and IBF titles at the age of 20.
Jake's trainer is training Jake. Mike's trainer is just trying to stay alive. It does look like that when he's holding the mitts. He's just like gagging and making all sorts of noises. I hope you're good over there, Mike's trainer. Don't get clipped.
With the fight just a few days away now, the boxing world is busy giving their thought about this fight. Lawrence Okolie, the British cruiserweight champion, expressed his concerns about the fight, acknowledging the challenge it presents. While he recognizes Tyson's status as one of the greatest boxers of all time, Okolie is aware of the risks posed by such a matchup at Tyson's age. He pointed out that Jake Paul, driven by the desire to defeat a legend like Tyson, might come into the fight with the kind of determination that could make the contest dangerous for Tyson. Despite these reservations, Okolie conceded that it would still be fascinating to see how the fight unfolds, given the unpredictable nature of boxing when a younger fighter faces off against a legend.
I think it's still going to be dangerous. I'm actually quite worried because Mike Tyson's a lot older, and Jake Paul's the type of person that I think he would love nothing more than to be able to say I knocked out Mike Tyson and blah 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 blah. So I'm quite worried for Mike Tyson, but let's see.
Le'Veon Bell, an American boxer and former NFL player, weighed in with his thoughts on the fight. While acknowledging Tyson's impressive skill set for a fighter of his age, Bell believes that Jake Paul will ultimately come out on top. Bell cited Paul's focus and dedication to training as the key factors in his prediction. He emphasized that despite the age difference, Jake Paul's commitment to improving his boxing technique gives him a significant edge. This opinion aligns with the growing recognition that Jake Paul, once dismissed as a mere social media star, is becoming a serious threat in the ring.
Slowly but surely, he can run, but he cannot hide.
You think he beats Mike Tyson, or you think Mike Tyson puts him out?
I think he beats Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson obviously he gonna look great, I think, for his age and things like that. But you know, at the end of the day, Jake Paul been doing this. He locked in, so I think he got it right now.
Meanwhile, Terence Crawford, one of the top pound-for-pound boxers in the world, offered a more nuanced perspective on Jake Paul's evolution as a fighter. In an interview with Logan Paul, Crawford admitted that, at first, he was skeptical of celebrity boxing matches like the one between Tyson and Paul. He feared that these kinds of fights could distort the perception of boxing, especially among younger fans. However, Crawford has since changed his opinion, acknowledging that Jake Paul has shown significant growth as a fighter. Paul's commitment to improving his skills and his disciplined approach to training have earned Crawford's respect. Though Paul's fame undoubtedly helped him secure high-profile bouts, Crawford believes that his progress in the sport has made him more than just a celebrity boxer.
I think, like I said in the interview, I think Jake is getting better. You know, he may need to work on his stamina a little bit. you know. But for the most part, I gained a lot of respect for Jake because he's not a YouTuber that's just boxing just to box. He actually trains and actually want to get better.
You know, using a YouTube status to come in boxing and make all this money, and you got all these boxers that's been doing it their whole life that doesn't even make close to what they making. I think it's disrespectful to us in the game, you know, but after watching him and seeing the seriousness that he's taken to actually train and like put the focus and attention into sports, I'm like, yeah, man, this dude really getting better. Like, he really can fight.
Crawford also pointed out the dual nature of Paul's rise in boxing. On one hand, his celebrity status provides him with opportunities that many boxers could only dream of. But on the other hand, his hard work and training have made him a legitimate competitor. This complex situation makes Jake Paul's career trajectory all the more interesting. It also highlights the broader trend of celebrity-driven boxing events, which often generate significant attention but can blur the lines between entertainment and professional sport.
His last fight, I was there in ringside, you know, in Puerto Rico, because we had the convention. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, this dude can punch with that right hand. I'm like, man, he ain't just no regular.
Something changed.
Yeah, like when you see it firsthand, like he ain't fighting no killer, but for him, it's stepping stones just like any other fighter.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people want Jake Paul to just go in there and fight Alexander Usyk, you know, but no, you got to work your way up, and that's what he's doing. And when I seen him fight live, I gained way more respect for him than I already had.
Logan Paul, Jake's older brother, also chimed in, strongly supporting his siblings' journey in boxing. He acknowledged that Jake's path to the ring was unconventional, but he emphasized the years of hard work that have transformed Jake into a serious contender. Logan rejected the narrative that Jake is simply riding the wave of his social media fame, arguing that his brother has worked tirelessly to improve his boxing skills. According to Logan, Jake's commitment to training and development is beginning to pay off, proving that he is more than just an internet sensation.
Jake has to be strategic about his path in boxing,
sure.
and he is. He's doing two things that are really impressive, I think. I'm biased, but he's making a fantastic living. He's making money by selling fights and convincing people to watch him and tune in. And he's fighting people that every time there is a percentage of people that think he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. Like I don't think there's been one fight where everyone's like, Jake Paul is guaranteed to win, you know? And then hopefully, at least his goal is to be the best in the world, to be a champion like you one day. And man, you mentioned it, he puts in the work. It is all he does.
Canelo Alvarez, one of the most decorated and respected fighters in the world today, offered a more critical view of the Tyson-Paul fight. Alvarez publicly condemned the fight as detrimental to the sport of boxing, stating that celebrity matchups like this one risk undermining the integrity of professional boxing. He expressed concern that such events could distort the public's understanding of boxing, giving the impression that it is more about spectacle than sport. For Alvarez, the Tyson-Paul matchup is an example of how celebrity boxing could dilute the seriousness of the sport, particularly for younger fans who might see these kinds of events as representative of boxing as a whole.
Tyson, interest you, and how do you see that fight going down in July?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not really. Not even interested.
No, nothing.
Do you think it's good for boxing? Not good for boxing?
No.
A lot of people think that Netflix is good for boxing.
I think Netflix is good for boxing, but at that special fight, I think Netflix is doing something wrong there. I think Netflix being involved, yes, is good, but no in that kind of fights. I think it's more show than a fight.
And he wins his last fight, and he of course calls you out, and then 2 days later he's fighting a near 60-year-old Mike Tyson.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not interested in.
On the other hand, Michael Nunn, a former world champion, offered a more optimistic take on Tyson's prospects. Despite Tyson's age, Nunn believes that the former champion still has the ability to dominate if he can tap into the aggression and ferocity that defined his prime years. He argued that Tyson's skill set, honed over decades of fighting at the highest level, remains formidable. While age may have taken a toll on Tyson's physical abilities, Nunn emphasized that a focused and determined Tyson could still be a dangerous opponent. In his view, Tyson's experience and mentality could be the deciding factor in this fight, even against a younger, more energetic opponent like Jake Paul.
Experience.
If Mike Tyson just goes out there and do what Mike Tyson does, he's going to obliterate. He's going to just, I mean, who wants to be at the end of a Mike Tyson left hook to the liver or to the chin?
But there is a 30-year age difference.
Well, and age is a big difference. Now, if Tyson got the condition and the skill set that we know that he's got, it's gonna be hell for the captain, man. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with him. I mean, with him actually fighting and wanting to fight and hurt you, I mean, hey, you know, I mean, good luck. That's what I can tell you.
Tyson Fury, the current heavyweight champion, also weighed in on the Tyson-Paul bout, noting that the two fighters are evenly matched, albeit for different reasons. Tyson, with his vast experience and legendary status, brings an undeniable advantage in terms of ring knowledge. However, Jake Paul's relative freshness and hunger for success could present its own challenges. Fury acknowledged that this fight is part of a larger trend in boxing, where the lines between traditional matchups and celebrity-driven events are increasingly blurred. From a financial and popularity standpoint, these fights often make sense for the fighters involved, but they also create a complex situation for the sport as a whole. Fury seems to suggest that fans will need to adjust to the reality that celebrity boxing events are becoming a permanent fixture in the boxing landscape.
Oh, okay, the guy's 57 years old, but he's a former undisputed world heavyweight king, and one guy plays computers for a living, and he's come to boxing about a year ago, so pretty even match.
You almost have to respect it, right? They come up in terms of like...
Listen, from being a kid on the Disney Channel to fighting Mike Tyson, who wouldn't want to do that?
Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson.
You know, I think it's fantastic for boxing. You know, you've got a legend in Mike Tyson. You've got a YouTube boxer who's come into the game and blew it up, and he's got millions of followers and millions of views and millions of eyes, good, bad or indifferent. Some people love him, some people hate him. So I think it's a really good spectacle for boxing. It brings a lot of people to the game. And listen, who am I to say, oh, Mike Tyson shouldn't be boxing or Jake Paul shouldn't be boxing? Good luck to them. They're both going to make what I call a ton of money out of it. So isn't that what it's about? It'd be fantastic for the guys. Both getting paid, both going to put on a show. I just don't know what's not to like. Oh, okay, the guy's 57 years old, but he's a former undisputed world heavyweight king, and one guy plays computers for a living, and he's come to boxing about a year ago, so pretty even match. Listen, from being a kid on the Disney Channel to fighting Mike Tyson, who wouldn't want to do that?
Bob Arum, the legendary boxing promoter, expressed his doubts about Tyson's ability to overcome a younger fighter like Jake Paul. Arum pointed out that Tyson's age and physical decline make it difficult for him to compete with someone like Paul, who is in the prime of his athletic career. He argued that the age gap and the physical advantages that Paul enjoys could make it nearly impossible for Tyson to secure a victory. Arum's comments reflect a common concern among those who believe that age is a significant factor in boxing, particularly when it comes to older fighters like Tyson.
Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, what do you think of that fight? You're Brooklyn, I'm Brooklyn. Mike, at 58 years old, can he beat Jake Paul 30 years younger his age? The answer is no.
Joseph Parker, the former heavyweight champion, expressed concerns about Tyson's ability to deliver the kind of knockout power that made him famous in his prime. While he acknowledged Tyson's impressive physical condition, Parker questioned whether the aging fighter could still generate the same kind of power. He admitted that it would be difficult to watch Tyson, who remains a living legend, compete at his current age, as it may be painful to witness him struggle against a younger opponent.
Listen, I'm all for boxing and all for big fights, but Mike Tyson is a legend, and no matter how great he was in the past with the ferocious style that he had and punches that he thrown and knocking everyone out, 58 years old is old for a fighter. And Jake Paul has the youth on the side, and with each fight he is getting better and better. So it's just, I think it's a hard fight to watch. It will be a hard fight to watch because you just don't want to see Mike. If Mike comes out and knocks him out, then we're going to be like, listen, he's, you know, so the power, I think, is the last thing to go. But at 58 years old, how much power is left And you know, we do see short clips, but you're right, we're not sure what happens before and after those clips. So just we'll see.
Katie Taylor, the undisputed lightweight champion, will be featured on the undercard of the Tyson-Paul fight. While she is excited about the opportunity, Taylor shares some of the concerns expressed by other fighters. She believes Tyson's legacy as one of the greatest boxers of all time cannot be overstated, but she also recognizes that the fight will present unique challenges for the former champion. Nonetheless, she maintains that it will be a monumental task for anyone to defeat Tyson, no matter how old he is.
I have my concerns as well, just like everybody else. I absolutely love Mike Tyson. He's everybody's hero in the sport, isn't he? He's an icon, legend in sport, and I just don't want to see him losing to Jake Paul. I just really respect Mike as a fighter and what he's done for the sport. And there's just nobody like him as a heavyweight. He walked into the ring with this aura. He's a black towel around him. No music sometimes.
TK Kirkland, a veteran boxing analyst, took a more optimistic view of Tyson's prospects. He likened Tyson's return to the ring to riding a bike, suggesting that Tyson's natural abilities and decades of experience could still give him the edge over a younger fighter like Jake Paul. Kirkland emphasized that while Paul may have the advantage of youth, Tyson's mastery of the sport could ultimately make the difference in the fight. This perspective underscores the notion that, for a fighter like Tyson, age is just a number, and his legendary skills could still come into play in the right circumstance.
He's good, but when you're Mike Tyson, it's like riding the bike. So by Mike Tyson 30-year difference, I think that it equals the same. Yes, the kid got youth on his side, but because he's not as experienced as Mike is, I think that Mike could get him on skill.
Finally, Joe Rogan, the well-known commentator and podcaster, issued a word of caution to Jake Paul. He reminded Paul that Tyson still possesses knockout power despite his advanced age. Rogan pointed out that Tyson's striking ability has not diminished, and that Jake Paul should not underestimate the former champion. At the same time, Rogan acknowledged Jake Paul's impressive growth as a boxer, recognizing that he has moved beyond his YouTube origins to become a legitimate competitor in the sport. The fight between Tyson and Paul represents a fascinating clash of generations, with both fighters bringing something unique to the table. Fans are eagerly awaiting to see how this one-of-a-kind matchup will play out.
He's in savage mode right now. He's in savage mode. If I was Jake Paul right now, I would be my pants.
Oh, bro, if I'm fighting this guy and I see he's eating raw meat, I call the f***ing off.
It's all the experiences that he has had as a conqueror. You have to take those into consideration. When a man has smashed men before, just smashed men, like when no one can stand in front of him, that is in his mind still. That's in there. There's a dark chamber in his mind that he can open up. He's doing all kinds of things. He's not a regular 57-year-old guy. And then you see him hit the pads, and you go, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, this is a terrifying human being. I mean, he's still terrifying. Hitting the bag, hitting the pads. He still has the ability to deliver those punches. And if any one of those hits anybody, they're he's not, it's not like his punches are, 30% of what they used to be. They're like 80 to 90% of what they used to be.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. It's probably a little slower than he used to be. He used to be insanely fast. There's a video of Tyson hitting the bag as a 19-year-old, and he's throwing these combinations like, and he's 210 pounds, 215 pounds. And the way I look at it, I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fight. He knows how to fight. Like, it's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, I don't know. He looks great on the mitts. But that doesn't mean that you know as much as I know.
Yeah.
I can look good on the bits.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people that, like, bro, mitts doesn't show anything. Yeah.
Especially if you watch in 30-second clips. What you want to see is him sparring. You want to see him hitting the bag for multiple rounds. You'd want to see, like, let's see 3 rounds hard on the bag. I'm gonna see what you could do. I want to see how your feet move. I want to see what it looks like if you're off balance when you're throwing combinations. You look like Tyson.
So what are your thoughts about this fight? Is Mike Tyson still the beast he was in his prime? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.